Hello, my name is Victoria Camire. I'm of counsel with the Law Office of Will M. Helixon. Where did I grow up? I grew up in Hopewell, Virginia, right outside of Fort Lee. I lived there until I went to college. I went to school in Hopewell for elementary and middle school, and then I was selected to attend the Governor's School, which is a magnet school in Richmond, Virginia. And so I went to high school there, where I took sign language, Greek, and French. So it was a very unique school, internationally focused, and so I really enjoyed that, and I got to travel overseas. And from there, I went to college, and my family still remains in Hopewell. What influenced me growing up? My family influenced me. So I was raised by my maternal grandparents and my mother, and so I lived with my grandparents until I was 14, and then I lived with my mom and her new husband at that time, my stepfather. And so my family really had a huge impact on me, the goals that I had in my life and where I wanted to go and how self-sufficient and dependent that I wanted to be. So I knew since I was a little kid that I wanted to be an attorney. And so I always looked at it in the sense of being able to help those who can't, making sure that there's a fair system, making sure that, in the end, there is justice, which doesn't always mean the same thing to everyone. Where did I attend college? I went to the College of William & Mary in Williamsburg, Virginia. During college, I played rugby. I did Army ROTC. I was part of the Pershing Rifles and Queen's Guard, which is a military organization. I also was on the dance team for my senior year of college. I decided that I had done too many mannish things and I need something feminine in my life after focusing on the Army and all the various activities that were offered through ROTC. So I tried to expand my senior year, and I was on the tribal dancers. And so, I was very involved during college and really enjoyed going to College of William & Mary. Where did I attend law school? I attended law school at William & Mary, so I stayed there from undergrad into law school. Again, I really loved Williamsburg and that area and the small town feel. And so during law school, I was on the law review. I did karate, and so I got to brown belt in karate. And so I continued to train and prepare for the Army because I was on an educational delay for ROTC. During one of my summers during law school, I worked at NATO, and so I lived in Brussels for the summer. An expat family took me in, and it was an amazing experience getting to work in that organization, travel everywhere. And then the other summer, I interned with the Corps of Engineers. And at that point, I thought that government contracts was going to be what I wanted to do for my legal career. And then I learned later that that is not where my passion lies. So after law school, I went directly into the Army. I was in the JAG Corps. I entered in October of 2008 and started at Fort Lee. So right outside my hometown, I started there. I was able to come in at an earlier OBC class because I was not going to, the Army was not going to have to move me to start. So luckily I was able to begin my active duty career sooner than expected. And even though, I was a last minute add onto the early OBC class, I was fortunate enough to be stationed in Hawaii. I joined the Army because of my grandfather. My grandparents raised me, and my grandfather was my hero. And so he encouraged me to try out Army ROTC, so I did. And I wanted to follow in his footsteps. And so he is the reason that I joined the Army, and that I had the dream to, stay in the Army 20 years and get to 06 like he was. And so I really I wanted to follow in his footsteps. In the Army, I had numerous jobs. I started out in legal assistance. Schofield Barracks, Hawaii. From there, I served as an administrative law attorney, chief of administrative law, trial counsel, all with 25th Infantry Division, Schofield Barracks, Hawaii. I deployed twice with 25th Infantry Division. During my first deployment, I did legal assistance. During my second deployment, I was the chief of administrative law and trial counsel. I actually tried cases downrange, and so we were in Iraq doing courts martial. It's a very interesting experience. Then from there, I was stationed in Joint Base Lewis McChord, served as a trial defense service. So I was a defense attorney. I was really excited about getting that job. I wanted to be a defense attorney and to help soldiers. From there, I went to Fort Meade, and I served as the command judge advocate for the 902nd Military Intelligence Group. And I was in that position for 3 years, advising a brigade commander. From there, I went to the grad course at the Judge Advocate General School in Charlottesville, Virginia. And then I was stationed at Fort Hood. I was the Chief of Justice for the 1st Cavalry Division in Fort Hood, Texas. I did that job for 2 years, and then I was lucky to get stationed in Korea. And I was the Deputy Staff Judge Advocate for the 19th Expeditionary Sustainment Command in Daegu, which is a lovely city, and I enjoyed that job. So I was medically retired from the Army in 2023. When I was stationed in Korea, the Army started a medical evaluation board on me. They're not able to complete that MEB while I was overseas, so they sent me back stateside to a soldier recovery unit, which used to be called the Warrior Transition Unit. And so I was part of the soldier recovery unit from January of 2022 until I retired medically in July of 2023. At that moment that the MEB was started, that was an extremely difficult time, because all I'd ever known was being an Army officer, right? Being a JAG. And that's all I'd wanted to be, following in the footsteps of my grandfather. And so, it was difficult, feeling as if I was getting kicked out, but knowing that in the end, that was the best option for me and the best thing for my family. And so in the end, I came to realize that. And so in July 2023, I medically retired. What are my goals as a warrior advocate? My goals are to passionately, zealously represent service members again. Coming off of active duty, I kind of took a step back and did public defense work part-time. I realized that I missed being a part of the military community. I missed helping service members, feeling like I was, doing something bigger than myself again. Kind of that feeling that I had when I was in the military. I want to be able to help those who are in the military in any way that I can. And as an attorney, that's, defending them. How do I balance empathy and justice? I try to be very straightforward with my clients while remaining empathetic, understanding that for a lot of people, this is the worst moment of their lives. So try to work through that with them while also making sure that I'm being real and letting them see the potential consequences, the evidence that they have against them, making sure that their eyes are open so that we can adequately prepare their defense and do what's best for them. I bring compassion, commitment, and a desire to help my client in any way that I can. It's really, fulfilling personally to be able to be a defense attorney. And then it's even more fulfilling to be able to do that for service members. And so I am extremely fortunate to have this opportunity to be a civilian military defense counsel. And I'm going to do what I can to be the best attorney, advocate, and counselor that I can be. I do what I do because I want to give back to the community that gave so much to me. I hold service members in such high regard. They are, putting themselves, ultimately, potentially making the ultimate sacrifice for the good of their nation. And I want to be able to help them when they need help.